So I'm at a point in my life where I don't make a ton of money. You know, the food service, the coffee shop phase, the pre-college paycheck to paycheck hustle. So I don't really spend money. Like 6 months or so, like every 2 months, I got myself a little something. And that happened this month as well. And I'm not 100% sure if it was a valid purchase, considering the fact that I, still need some essentials that I haven't really taken care of yet, like maybe more than 3 t-shirts would be good to have. But what I did spend a little bit of extra money on is what we're here to discuss. I've been a bookish person, a bookstore whore, since I was a teenager, I guess. I love going into bookstores. Oh, I should do a vlog of like some of my favorite bookstores, like a bookstore tour in Austin. But yesterday, I had my day off of my 6-day work week and I ventured into Half-Price Books to pick up some journals. Journaling's been something I've been doing since I was 9 years old. My mom gave me my first journal when I was 9 and I've kept them all. I fell off the journaling train like last year until my therapist told me to pick it back up again, and like I love it as much as ever. And I started getting into bullet journaling, which I never thought I would do. And then, remembered that like journaling is, in my opinion, something that's super like an integral part of being a writer, because initially I used to write all my books by hand on like legal pads and notebooks, Of course I use my computer now. I more often Google Docs, but like I used to design the maps and the characters and everything in notebooks. In between school, it would be my escape, my wonder. I would go sit underneath a tree and all these things. And writing used to be, for me, a really important part of exploring who I was, expanding my horizons, exploring like conflict and asking questions and things that I didn't feel the ability to do in my everyday life. And I think that is something that was really healthy for me growing up, and it's something that I still feel a pull towards now. And it's also sometimes just more fun to create my own worlds than to watch movies and TV that other people have created, because I can make them whatever I want, and I do have a lot of opinions about what I think like fictional world should look like. In the last like 2 years, maybe more, I've mostly been revising books and series that I wrote when I was a teenager. Either that or continuing like series of books that I wrote when I was a teenager, which I do love, but I've been itching to write something new because the passion for those has died down a little bit, because they were me asking questions and exploring things that I was dealing with as a teenager. And I'm 25 now, and it's not like I still don't deal with some of the same issues, but I'm definitely dealing with different ones. So I needed 3 different journals. Definitely needed them. The first one that I needed was my spiritual journal. So I grew up conservative Christian. And then about 2017, I lost my faith, I guess you could say, and left that religion. And I identify as an atheist, and I've identified as an atheist ever since then. But I definitely miss like the spiritual rituals, and I don't know, I liked praying, I liked like the tradition. I'm a huge nerd for fantasy, and I like fairies and magic, and like a sense of tradition from, I don't know, like spiritual stuff. I like rituals and things. It was hard to lose all of that when I lost my religion. So I've gone into exploring different kinds of spirituality, and the one that I found myself pulled the most towards was actually Wicca, which is sometimes mistaken as being Satanism by the Christian community, but it is not. It has nothing to do with Satan at all. It is just a different religion, a compilation of a lot of different pagan traditions, many of them very British, tied in with like Druidism, and just tied in with the witches who used to practice their witchcraft in England. It's very focused on, you know, the cycle of the seasons, the cycle of the moon, the phases of the moon, and really being in line with the earth and and nature, which makes so much sense to me, and I want to really get back to nature. So I needed to find a very special book to take with me to my Wicca meetings and write down everything that I was learning. But something that I found when I was in Half Price Books looking at the journals is that I had never realized before how feminine most journal designs are. Because I know journaling is typically, it's like society sees it as a very female thing for some reason, even though I think anyone could benefit from journaling. And I also think that, especially like organization and like planners and things like that, but apparently you guys just like aren't supposed to do that, because I guess they're not supposed to be creative. I don't know. But most of these journals were very feminine. There was a lot of bright pink and a lot of swirly golden patterns and colors that I just did not align with. And I was like, can I just get like is there anything just like plain, like a little brown book or a little black book or something that looks like Celtic-y or spiritually? I could barely find anything, but there was this one little pack. By the way, I spent like possibly 2 hours around the journal section, looking and relooking and looking and relooking, trying to decide which journal said me. But it felt like such an indulgence to get. Like, I'm a picky person. If you don't want me to sit there deliberating about what food I'm gonna get, what frozen yogurt combination I'm gonna get, or what t-shirt really says me for maybe 30 minutes to an hour, then you might not want to go out with me. I take ages to make decisions, but it's so worth it. I get so happy when I buy something that's just like, yes, this is perfect. Look at these. These are the little notebooks that I got for my Coven study. So perfect. There's really simple like stitching on the binding here. I want to tell you who they're by. Piccadilly, it says here, but there was a package of 3, these 2 and a teal one. The thing about journaling is, one reason it's so awesome is that when you get a nice journal, you feel like so good about writing in it. It makes you want to do it. Perfect. The next journal that I wanted to get, well, it was actually a sketchbook, which they didn't have a ton of sketchbooks, and the sketchbooks that they did have were like way too big, and I really needed to make sure this was a special one because I'm having a little creative project that I'm gonna start relatively soon. I hadn't been drawing in a long time. I love drawing, and I have a webcomic that I haven't updated in like half a year, unfortunately, but I want to get back to that. That's one reason why indulging in these journals felt like such a big thing, was that I have these books that I wrote when I was a teenager that I'm still finishing up. But I feel like if I don't start new creative projects, like even tiny ones, then I will just I'll lose that creative spark to even finish the long-term projects that I have. So I wanted to like start a small creative project that I could do while finishing up publishing my middle grade series and my poetry book. I'm living this life and like spending a lot of time on fictional worlds while not putting a lot of my creative energy into my real life seems kind of wrong, a little bit off. That's one reason I wrote my poetry book. Like I usually write like sci-fi and fantasy for teenagers, but I went ahead and wrote a poetry book a couple of years ago that I'm still working on getting finished and published, but it's almost out, I swear. That was sort of my little project last year, and the year before, where I was sort of like expressing my life in a poetry form. But that was a lot of like expressing the struggles I was going through and expressing the turmoil and up and down of emotions. I'm a lot more stable emotionally right now, which is awesome. And I'm in a 1.5-year relationship with a girl that I really, really like. And I wanted to do something more celebratory, and I wanted to start sketching again. So I'm starting a project, a sketch every day of my girlfriend. Some moment that we had throughout the day, something I want to remember. It's also like aligning with my gratitude practice that I'm trying to keep up, of remembering the moments that were awesome, the moments that mattered. I got this one. It was in a pack of 2 actually. It's very like, you can't see it right now, but it's very like textury. You can probably hear. Like there's some fabric in there. And then on the back is just sort of this black and white. Textury, fabric-y, soft back. And then, yeah, it's like a nice size, like you draw a good picture, but it is like travelable, like I can take it with me places. And inside, you've got these like sketch pages. So that's really, really nice, really pretty. This one I like debated on for so long because, so like I said, I'm trying to get back in touch with my creative side, get back into writing things that align with me now as opposed to me as a teenager, you know, get all that kind of thing rolling again. Because it was all based on when I was a kid, and when I was a kid I was not afraid to wonder and dream and reach for the stars and like express whatever I was feeling in this format. I think sometimes now I'm like more afraid to explore things I want to explore and ask questions that I want to ask, because I kind of forgot that that's what like creativity used to be for me. Like I kind of forgot that I used to love writing and drawing because I was able to like explore questions I was having that I didn't feel fully comfortable exploring IRL. That was almost a form of therapy, I think, because I would have these characters in the book like saying things to my character that I needed to hear, you know? Yeah. And that's why I loved a lot of the media that I loved, because the characters in those shows were doing things that I aspired to do and having relationships that I aspired to and professing ideology that I believed in. And so that's what I want to move forward with, but I'm too scared to do that in a book form to put out there into the world. 1, because it takes so much time and I'm not done with the other ones yet. 2, because I don't know how people will receive it. And I've gotten like so detached from writing something just for the quality of the art. I can't stop thinking about how it will be taken, who will like it, what they will say about it. And that's just like a horrible way to create. So I decided to write a secret writing project just for me. And that's gonna be the hardest part, is assuring to myself that it's okay to write something just for me. It does not feel okay. I feel like there was a time a couple years ago when I was trying to monetize like everything I did. And so there's a part of my brain that's just like, you can't write something just for you. Like if you write it, what if it's good? Then share it. And it's like, well, that's not, I don't need to think about that right now. I just need to write something just for me. I need to get back to like what I even like about writing, what I even want to write, what I think is good art, you know, and enjoying it just for me. Back when I was like 12 or whatever and making books, no one was ever going to see that. I mean, I imagined that they were, but they never were. And it was like raw creativity. And anyway, I don't need to justify it. It's perfectly great. Because I remember writing short comic strips about like my eating disorder and like some issues I was having when I was a teenager, and those were definitely never meant to see the light of day. but they did help me think through some stuff. And like looking back, they give me like a lot of insight to where I was at the time. And it's just like, yeah, fictional worlds helped me a lot. And yes, I definitely have more resources now. I have real friends and therapists and stuff, but there's still things. I still think this can help me, and I still like want to be a part of it. So yeah. So anyway, I feel like super indulgent to the fact that I got journals for this, because again, my adult brain was like, just use the computer. You're a minimalist. You don't need to be buying these journals. Just use the computer, write a book, and if it's good, you should show it to people. No, adult brain, go away. I am revisiting my child self and just indulging in some pretty journals to write a pretty story for pretty old me, to work out my thoughts and feelings, because this writing thing was supposed to be and is supposed to be about art and integrity and stories that matter. It's not supposed to be about word count and how many followers you have on Instagram. This is one of the main books I got for it. Oh, isn't it gorgeous? It is this huge sketchbook. Because I used to write, I used to do all of my characters that I would write. I used to, you know, sketch them all out and write their personality traits and everything. So I got this huge sketchbook. Oh, it's so thick and gorgeous. Oh my god, it's so sexy. And this bit comes off. Well, apparently it doesn't come off. It unfolds. That's kind of funny. But anyway, this gorgeous book, I'm gonna fill it up with my secret writing project. And I may talk about my secret writing project like on this channel, as in I may mention that I have one, but sorry, you're not getting any details about it because it's just for me. I want to share the fact that I'm doing it with you, but the whole point about it is that I don't share what's inside, and that just feels so indulgent. It's just for me. And then I got this one. Yeah, excuse my journal-gasms. This one is a little notebook. It's got little flowers on the edges, and it's also for my secret writing project to write in. And I'm gonna probably write in this one as well. Probably draw pictures of the characters and write little like things about them. And this one is just for writing like world building, thoughts about it, like anything. This is completely going to be for the way that I want to explore my story. If I want to explore a certain character's backstory, I can write about it. If I want to explore some world, some costume design and something, I can draw about it. And I'm not sticking to, you know, writing it in like a traditional format, either novel or comic or graphic novel or whatever. It's just me exploring this world, me writing it however I feel best works for me. I probably spent like $30 on all these journals, which yeah, I don't really have $30 to spend on journals, but I never spend money, and I think this was an investment. This was an investment into my future, my hobbies, my creativity, my mental health. I'm getting really nerdy about notebooks. This may be something that only grows. So tell me in the comments below if you love journals as much as me. What was your favorite journal that you ever got? When was the last time you got a journal? Or now have I convinced you to go get some and start some of those self-indulgent projects? Let me know. And I'm gonna go start planning my journal. And until I see you again, always remember that we are epic heroes today and every day of our lives. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.